everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Christina Alabato, back again. I'm so excited to be here today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a Broadway actor. I played Gretchen Wieners in Mean Girls on Broadway most recently. I did American Idiot, American Psycho, a ton of off-Broadway shows, blah, blah, blah. That's me. Hi, welcome. If you're new, I'm so happy you're here. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm super pumped to keep this Mean Girls Memories video going. And I think I'm sort of like turning it into Broadway In Depth, right? So we'll still keep calling it Mean Girls Memories because I'm gonna do it through the lens of Mean Girls, but let's get super specific about Broadway stuff. I've been doing this series for those of you that are new. I've been going in depth about my experience at Mean Girls on Broadway. I started with how I got cast, my audition process, and I went all the way through my rehearsals, put-ins, and the last video, which you should go check out right now if you haven't, including all the videos. I talked about my opening night as Gretchen Wieners as a replacement in a Broadway show. So, next up, I wanted to talk about the 8-show week. So this video is about what it's really like to do an 8-show week on Broadway. The intrigue! Okay, so Broadway basics. Usually Broadway shows that happen in New York and a lot of professional regional theater shows and off-Broadway shows are on an 8-show-a-week schedule, which means that we do 8 shows within 7 days with 1 day off usually. A lot of the times an 8-show week, we have Mondays off. That's why we're always like, Monday party, woo! I still feel that way on Mondays even though it's a Monday. So anytime Muggles post oh, it's Monday, I'm like, yes, it's Monday. So Monday's the day. Usually the schedule for a Broadway show is 1 show Tuesday, 2 Wednesday, 1 show Thursday, 1 show Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. That's the usual schedule. But a lot of shows do a ton of different things. Sometimes they'll have a double show Thursday instead of Wednesday, or like we did on Mean Girls, the dreaded 5-show weekend. So 5-show weekend happens a lot in a lot of shows. And it's dreaded only because when you have your matinee on Wednesday, you only have 1 show Sunday. So then, if you have a matinee Sunday, you have Sunday night off, all day Monday, all day Tuesday until Tuesday night. It really is the best schedule, okay? But 5-show weekends happen a lot because a lot of the times, weekend matinees and double shows on both Saturday and Sunday sell better for shows. So, at Mean Girls Broadway, we were always on a 5-show weekend, with the exception of summer, where we had 4-show weekends and it was so much fun. That sort of is the start of this okay, what's an 8-show week? So that's what an 8-show week is, 5-show weekend. So you're sort of building up and moving towards that weekend because that Friday to Saturday to Sunday is really intense. It takes a lot of energy and you really have to prep for it. So let's get into the basics of an 8-show week. A lot of actors ask me, what's the one thing that people don't realize about Broadway shows or about being a Broadway actor or being a professional theater actor? And it's that 8-show weeks are hard. They're hard and they are taxing and there's really no way to prep for them, which is super weird because, as a person that's studying, you're like, how can I prep for when I want to become a professional stage actor? What can I do? And there's so many things to do. But the 8-show week is one of those things that's almost not preppable. The only way to know what it feels like to do 8 musicals in 1 week is to do 8 musicals in 1 week. You learn a lot about your body, about your voice, about your stamina, about your psyche. It's a lot, but it's so fun. And that 8th show, oh my gosh, you feel so just yes, I did it. So let's talk about my day-to-day, right? What's an 8-show week like? It really depends on what's happening at the show. Sometimes you can really just have your 8 shows at Mean Girls. I would have weeks at Mean Girls where it was just my 8 shows. I would come in at half hour, I would get ready for the show, I would do it, I would go home, and that would be it. Tuesday through Sunday, have my Monday off, go back on Tuesday. And that's honestly sort of rare. The reason an 8-show week is so taxing, or one of the reasons, is, you think okay, the actor doesn't have to get to the theater until 7:30 for an 8 o'clock show. They do the show, they go home. So you're okay, they don't work that many hours. But what's crazy is what comes in between. Using Mean Girls as sort of an example, there would be weeks at Mean Girls where we would have put-ins. If you remember from a couple of videos ago, a put-in is when we have new cast members. We had a lot of new cast members coming in and out of Mean Girls. Sometimes principals, sometimes ensemble members, sometimes swings, and sometimes, company members understudying new roles. And all those people get put-ins, just like I did. So a lot of the times you would be called for a put-in, which would be usually on a Thursday or a Friday during the day. So you would get there around noon, 1, 2, depending on, hours that you can be called. And we would do the whole show for the person being put in. At times you would even be called the day before for spacing, depending on what kind of, what track is going in, how much it involves the person. So as Gretchen, when we were putting in new Karen understudies or new plastics or new ensemble members that really interact with Gretchen a lot, I would always get called because it's so important that those people understand the traffic patterns of the people that do the show every night. So that's in addition to your 8-show week, you get called for rehearsals. As an understudy in swing, you can get called every single week, for a certain amount of hours. So our swings and understudies are busy. So it's 8 shows plus rehearsals. And then in between all of that are other things, right? When you're in a Broadway show, you're still auditioning. So I would, wake up in the morning, learn new sides, go to an audition, and then maybe go to a put-in and then do the show at night. So your day fills up really fast, So in addition to auditions within your 8-show week, at Mean Girls was, again, a great example. We did a lot of press and extra stuff for the show. So, yes, we get our rest, we have to recuperate, but then, one day we could have a whole video shoot all day long and then have dinner really quick and then go to the theater. I remember when we did Rockefeller, when we sang Jingle Bell Rock at Rockefeller Center, we, rehearsed right after the show the night before. Then we had to run to Rockefeller Center and do that performance. And then they put the 4 of us in a car back to the theater. And we were literally there 15 minutes before the show started, back at the theater. It was so snappy and fast. So the days get full. They get full. And also you have life stuff, right? And so that 8-show week, it gets busy and it gets super packed in a way that you don't really anticipate. But you sort of get used to it. It's a really specific schedule. I think my body's what takes most of a beating in an 8-show week. Vocally, it can too, depending on what kind of vocal track you're in. Gretchen wasn't too taxing on my voice, but what was difficult for Gretchen was my body, right? So as Gretchen, I'm really anxious. My shoulders are high. I'm moving 1 billion miles a minute. And so Gretchen is super high, super here. So kind of trying to pace that out within an 8-show week was a challenge and something that I got better at as time went. So again, it's about pacing and it's about, knowing when you have to sit back a tiny bit maybe because, my voice isn't feeling this. How am I going to get through it through another show? Okay, maybe I shouldn't cackle on Karen's line that hard or harshly. It's all about pacing and knowing your limits. Another thing with an 8-show weeks is and especially if you're doing for a show for a year, you're doing other stuff in between. Like I said, you're auditioning. Sometimes you're doing a reading. During Mean Girls one time, I was doing a reading. I did the reading of Devil Wears Prada. And I remember that was for 3 straight weeks. And so for 3 weeks, I was up at 8 a.m. to warm up for the reading, or 7 a.m. to warm up for the reading. Got on the subway by 9 o'clock to go to the rehearsal for the reading, would be at the studio from 10 to 6 doing the reading, and then would run from the reading to the theater to get there for a 6:30 half-hour call for a 7 o'clock show after leading an entire reading. I sang every song, I was in every scene, and that was for 3 weeks. So that is where again, anytime I talk to young actors, is just anytime you feel tired or I can't possibly do all of this, just keep pushing yourself because it doesn't really slow down. You juggle a lot once you're at this level of this, and it's so fun and totally worth it, but it's really, really easy to burn out. So I'm constantly trying to make sure that, again, I'm taking care of my voice, I'm taking care of my mind, I'm taking care of my body. And, if I have to say, hey, I got to call out today. This is really can be dangerous. That's why we have our days to call out and why covers are there and why understudies are there and why, we're a company together. So another crazy thing, and it's weird thinking about an 8-show week, it is so fun. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing. And it's so cool to experience doing a long-running show in an 8-show week. It makes you, I think, it has made me a better actor because think about doing the same show. A lot of you in your schools or in regional theaters or in community theaters, you're doing sometimes 2 shows. You culminate with your 2 shows that you do, which I loved and always had so much fun doing when I was younger. But imagine now doing those 2 shows, that many times throughout the year. What is 8 times 365 minus Mondays? Anybody? Wait. What is that? I'm going to do that math. Bob, what would I do? 365 days in the year. Don't laugh. So I'm doing 52 weeks times 8 minus 52, right? Because one day a week we're not doing shows.
Ooh. You sure you want this on camera? Your math is not good.
Wait, why?
You're not doing days, you're counting it in
I'm
weeks.
counting it.
52 times 8, you're done. And if you really just want to, if you take 2 weeks off for vacation, that'd be 50 times 8.
Got it. I'm clearly a mathematician. So 52 weeks in a year times 8 means you're doing the show 416 times, which is a lot of times. And why I think it's amazing is when I look back at shows that I did for an entire year, I'm like, the fact that I did Mean Girls 416 plus times, because I did it a little bit longer than a year, is amazing. That is amazing that I was able to do a musical that many times, and that a musical like that can go that many times in New York and people can see it, and regionally shows that are running long, even shows that do 8-show weeks for a couple of months. I mean, it's amazing. So it takes this, there's something fun about it. Once you click into like, I'm doing this for a while, you go, how am I going to change this up? I do the same thing every day. So there is an element of your brain that starts to go like, do I remember these lines? Like, I can't possibly say this line one more time. I can't possibly sing this song one more time. And then you sort of go on autopilot sometimes. So then when you're out of like, you know, remembering in that like deep part of your soul, you're like, wait, do I even know what I'm doing? And then you panic and then you get back on and it's fun. And sometimes you get off and it's like, whatever. But I do think what's fun about it is trying to make it fresh, right? I think that that's one of the big challenges of people that do long-running shows is how can I keep this fresh? And how can I keep it fresh for the audience? Because the best advice I was ever given by somebody in the business when I was younger, and I was like, God, 8 shows a week. Like it was a year into something or a year and a half into something. I was like, I was like, I have nothing left. Like I can't find something interesting. Like how do you do it when you really don't want to do it on that Saturday morning when you're so tired and your feet hurt and you're like, I can't possibly do this again. And this amazing actor told me when I was younger, he said, my favorite thing to remember on days like that, because they happen. And that doesn't mean you're not grateful. It doesn't mean anything. It just means you're doing the show 400 times a year. And a couple of days and a couple of times, you're going to be like, I'm really freaking tired today. And he said, the best thing to remember is that the audience, it's their first time. So no matter how many times you do it, and it is new for somebody in the audience. And that was mind-blowing to me because that made it fresh for me because it wasn't repetition anymore. It wasn't like I'm doing the same thing like Groundhog Day over and over and over again. The person in the front row is seeing it for the first time and they're experiencing it for the first time. And that to me was super magical. So there are things like that. There's also like why I love covers and understudies going on. It's such an amazing way to freshen up the show, to snap you out of like a little bit of rhythm, putting in new people that are joining the company. Again, really excited audiences. Like there's just so much stuff that goes into keeping it fresh and it's really fun. There's something really fun. And then that 8th show in the week always feels like such an accomplishment getting through that 5-show weekend. And there's something really celebratory about that. I never know what to tell people because sometimes I say like, don't go to the 8th show of a week of a Broadway show because they're going to be so tired. But it's sort of a party because we're so excited we made it to the 8th show and we're like ready to relax and have our day off. And so sometimes I think the 8th show is the one to actually go to. Anyway, so that's what an 8-show week is like in a Broadway show, specifically in Mean Girls and for other shows that do 8 shows a week. I hope this was informative to you. If you have questions about an 8-show week, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and tell your friends about it. And let me know what else you'd like to hear about Broadway In Depth with me. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye!